Good morning. My name is Jaden Duenas. This is Tuesday, December 22nd, 2020, and this is Join the Discourse. And so the premise of the show is to join the discourse. Discourse is somewhat of a scholarly discussion, and you need more than one person for that. So that's where you come in. I'm inviting you right now, and going forward every single week. I do these 3 times a week: Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, all at 7:30 a.m. Join the discourse with me. You can join the Discord server where that could take place. You can find that at jd-originals.com. You can DM me. You can any means that you want to join the discourse, please do. The only point is that you engage in this just as much as I am. If you can't stick around for the rest of the show, you can find this playback live on YouTube and Periscope. You can also listen on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So check that out there. As you can see from the headline, this is a pretty serious topic. So this is the trigger warning for this whole episode here. We're talking about sex trafficking, sexual violence. Please, if that's not something you're comfortable with hearing right now, exit now. Please feel free to do so. I'll have this up later if you find a better time to do this. But if not, that's all good. And if you or someone you know is being affected by sex trafficking or human trafficking in any form, please call 1-888-373-7888. That's the human trafficking hotline. You can also text the word help or the word info to 233-733, or just go to humantraffickinghotline.org and they'll have all that information there. But essentially, I was inspired to talk about this today because I saw that Vice covered a new article last week about 40 women who were suing Pornhub for $1 million each, plus other damages. So a total of actually $80 million. And it's because these women were all victims of a sex trafficking operation disguised as a pornography production company / website called Girls Do Porn. And basically, Girls Do Porn coerced these women into making videos, lied to them about the distribution, telling them it would never be online anywhere, telling them it would only be distributed in foreign countries to individual buyers and independent video stores and stuff like that. And then they just put them on girlsdoporn.com and pornhub.com. Pornhub actually put them on as a content partner. So it wasn't even just that Girls Do Porn put it on their website. It's the fact that Pornhub worked very directly with these people. Girls Do Porn was actually removed already in January of 2020. And at that point, it was removed because there was a whole series of trials and investigations going on. The FBI was involved and is involved, actually, because it's still ongoing to an extent. But multiple men were already charged with very serious crimes of this matter. And one has been convicted that I know of, one of the male actors from Girls Do Porn, who was very heavily involved in this. And others are still on trial for sex trafficking, as well as the fact that the owner of the ex-owner of Girls Do Porn, I believe his last name is Pratt, he fled the United States in September of 2019, so September of last year. He's currently in the FBI's most wanted list right now for these crimes, as well as for other crimes such as producing child pornography and for trafficking a minor. So as you can see, the scum of the earth, that's basically who we're talking about here. The absolute scum of the earth. And one question you might have right now is, clearly Girls Do Porn is the scum of the earth, but Pornhub is an aggregate website. So they have a lot of partnerships with a lot of companies. I don't want to say like this because I hope this isn't happening at every single production company, but they have partnerships with a lot of different companies within this industry. And so why sue Pornhub then? Actually the women, they're suing MindGeek, which is the parent company of Pornhub. MindGeek owns a lot of different companies within this industry. And MindGeek failed to remove the videos from Girls Do Porn of these sexually trafficked women, these women who were lied to and coerced into having sex, who weren't paid appropriately. And even about the lying about the distribution, they lied about much more than distribution even. I was reading that they lied even about the ownership of the company. They didn't even say the name of the company. They told the women that it was for something entirely different, had them signing contracts without even the words Girls Do Porn on them. So it was lying at many levels. This is a true form of trafficking and coercion. So is that, I guess I should expand on that even more. MindGeek failed to remove the videos despite requests as recent as December of this year, 2020. So these women, it's only December 22nd. So within the past 22 days, there were women who were sexually trafficked, victimized by this company, and asked Pornhub to take these videos down, and they just were ignored, completely ignored. So it's not even just that. It's also the fact that the victims are alleging that MindGeek knew about the trafficking operation since 2009. It is currently 2020. That's 11 years ago. And they're saying that they allegedly knew as early as 2009, but definitely as early as 2016. And even then, from 2016 until Girls Do Porn was considered just totally defunct as a company, they continued to do work with them. And so these investigations were ongoing for years and years and years. And MindGeek knew about the trafficking operations that were going on. And that's what I want to focus on in this episode. Excuse me. The leadership at Pornhub and MindGeek, I guess, made a conscious decision to choose profit over morality. And not even just morality, over decency, over being human. They chose to ignore the pleas from these women to remove their videos, etc. And they chose to, inflict these damages of emotional distress on these women, of ostracization. Their families disowned them for these videos that they thought would never leak or get out anywhere. And then it was posted online for every single person in the world to see, and they had coworkers harassing them, friends and ex family members. I'm saying ex because, again, they were disowned. These women experienced trauma, some attempted suicide, but I'm saying some attempted suicide. Literally all of the victims have expressed suicidal thoughts. And so to inflict damage like that, that's evil. All right. And so even after the trial, charges, etc., Pornhub and MindGeek, they still refuse to remove these videos as recent as this month. And that's because those videos were making them money. You know what I'm saying? So it's, especially with Girls Do Porn in the headlines of the news and being covered by media organizations like Vice, and then people, very sick people, then go look up Girls Do Porn and they try to find these videos. And so that's disgusting, for one. But even more disgusting, it's not just Pornhub. This is the entire pornography industry, all right? And it's based around exploiting women to please men. And so even the operations that aren't explicit sex trafficking operations and coercion and lying and inflicting these kinds of damages, the entire industry is based around the concept of exploiting women's bodies to please men. And not even just women, based around exploiting children's bodies even to please men. I mean, you look at any type of media that you find on these kinds of websites, and they all have things about, 18 years old, like young, blah, 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 blah. Like, even the fact that we have 18 and up laws in the United States and like around the world, 18 and up law is just an excuse for pedophilia. And I understand there's not really I guess we can't think of one right now, a better way to make sure that there are consensual, empowered relationships between people besides setting like age laws like that. But I'm 20 years old, so I'm 2 years past that age anyway. I could not imagine dating and having any sort of relationship with someone 50 years old, someone 30 years older than me. That feels gross to me. That feels disgusting. And the fact that there are men, grown men, 60-year-old men who are chasing after 18-year-old girls, and the fact that there are 40-year-old men watching porn of 18-year-old girls, that's pedophilia. That's exactly what it is. There's no age to pedophilia. There's no literal age in the word. It's the fact that grown adults are chasing satisfaction from young children. All right. And so anytime there's that age imbalance, that's a power imbalance as well. Every porn video ever is based around these principles of exploitation and choosing to profit over ethics. women sign these contracts, these modeling contracts, like the women and girls who porn, and they're signing their bodies away, and even for a check, so they're even the ones who are being paid, and even the ones who are being paid appropriately, unlike the women and girls do porn, their body is being sold as a resource and it's being commodified. And then other men are reaping the profit of that. They're reaping the sales from those videos. They're reaping the subscriptions and stuff like that. The women aren't really getting their justice, what they own, their bodies. And it's even more disgusting because this is the world. This isn't just the porn industry either. This is the world. Capitalism is global, and every industry chooses profit over ethics. It's the same capitalism that drove slavery. It drives slavery. Present tense drives slavery. It's the same capitalism that drives the prison system, that drives wage labor, that drives, forced prostitution. Capitalism is capitalism, and even more than that, capitalism is individualism, choosing to put your own interests over the interests of another to exploit them and make yourself better, and so I'm here asking you, will we ever see an ethical form of this industry? Is that even possible, or is it inherently exploitative, like I'm saying? Is there a way that we could meet the needs of the people who want to watch this kind of stuff, without exploiting the subjects of their interest? Also, how does this compare to things like nude art? You know what I mean? Could it even be considered art? Could porn industry be considered an artful industry? I would say no. I think that it's commodification, and it's the way that it is, again, exploiting that resource of the human body, of women's bodies. I think that depletes any artistic value because of how exploitative it is. It's sold as like a product of instant gratification, and art isn't sold as a product of instant gratification. Any artist is making art that they could enjoy in their living room themselves. You know what I mean? You don't need to have it spread and sold to millions of people online. And so, no, I don't think that's the same as, a woman taking like a self-portrait, even if it is nude. I think that that's different because of the fact that that woman could be taking it just for herself. There's many other reasons than just selling it. And I think that, the selling it is an important part as well, because it's interesting. I think even if a woman does exactly that, just takes a picture of their own body, and does with it as they please, even if they do sell it, could we say that's less exploitative than somebody else taking that picture or that video or something and then exploiting it? I would even say I don't think so. All right. And so I'm not going to advocate for porn. If you are going to watch pornography, I would say do it in a way that supports these sex workers. Use OnlyFans to support them directly, stuff like that. Do not use these aggregate websites like Pornhub because of what they've engaged in, as is very clear through what I'm saying. But you can find all this stuff easily on Google. Search up Pornhub $40 million lawsuit. All this information will pop up right there for you. But what I'm saying is, I think the concept of pornography itself is exploitative. I think that producing images for the satisfaction of others is inherently exploitative, in the same way almost that like social media is exploitative of your mind, of my mind. I'm engaging in it right now. I'm making something for other people. And so indirectly, your opinions and your behaviors influence me and my actions. They're exploiting me into behaving in a certain way for you. You know what I mean? And so I think that it is exploitative, and it brings you to a point where you don't own you anymore. But it's even more so in the pornography industry because you're taking, right now what I'm doing, I'm taking my voice and my ideas and I'm expressing them, and in a way I don't own that anymore because I'm trying to create something for you. In the porn industry, you're taking your entire mind and body and letting other people exploit that of you, and so even beyond that, I don't want to talk about, even those on OnlyFans for the audience of porn I'm speaking of. even people who do use OnlyFans, more ethical things like that, we're even shown through many different scientific studies and sociological studies that porn is extremely harmful to your mind and your livelihood. All forms of instant gratification are. So social media is a harm to your mind and your body and stuff like that. Drugs are a harm, and porn acts like a drug. It acts like these forms of social media. So while you're damaging yourself by using these different forms of pornography, you're also perpetuating this industry that exploits women's bodies for profit, and even more so than that, does it in a disgusting display of capitalism, commodification, and trafficking like girls do porn, and that's not unique to girls do porn. That happens around the world, US. I haven't done it directly. I shouldn't say this. I would speculate that you could ask many people within this industry, and they're all going to tell you that they've had some similar experience to this. Whether it was as bad as girls do porn, I don't know. But I'd imagine that this happens a lot in this industry. And so I would consider removing yourself from that equation. All right. I understand that that's hard. That's something that a lot of men struggle with specifically, but people in general, men and women alike, struggle with. But I would say that consider supporting sex workers like the ones you watch in porn more directly, at the very least. Consider removing yourself from the equation entirely. But if you can't do that, consider supporting them in ways that are more ethical and support them more directly so that you're not contributing to their exploitation. You know what I mean? That's all it is at the end of the day. Just don't be the one that's contributing to their exploitation. And so that's all I've got today. Before I head out, again, this is Join the Discourse. If you got something to add, any questions, you agree with me, you disagree with me, you just want to say what's up, whatever it is, join my Discourse server. It's at jd-originals.com. You can find it there along with a lot of other stuff that I've been working on recently. You can send me a DM or even like an email at jaden@jd-originals.com. Remember, you can listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. You can play this back on YouTube. You can play this back on Periscope, where I'm live right now, YouTube and Periscope. And so make sure you also check out my YouTube channel while you're at it. I've got past live streams, past episodes of Join the Discourse. I've got art videos that I was working on over the summer. I've got more live streams that I'm going to do. This Thursday, I'm actually going to do 2. So I'm going to do an episode of this in the morning as usual. And then I'm going to do a second live stream as well at night. And I'm going to be doing like a photography trip, a night photography trip. And I'm going to pre-record it because it's going to be almost impossible to do otherwise. But it should be a lot of fun. So tune in then. Other than that, I'll see you next time. Please tune back in on Thursday for a new conversation and for that night photography trip. I hope you join the Discourse then, and thank you for watching.